Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Woodbridge, the best town around. My name is John McCormick. I'm the mayor of this great town, and we're here today for a moment that we have waited for a very, very long time. As you heard everybody say when we kind of had the groundbreaking of the History Museum a while back, this is something that's been worked on for many, many years. The people behind me, the people in front of me here have done a phenomenal job to get us to this point where we actually are opening up the Woodbridge History Museum today in Woodbridge Township. So let's hear for that. I'm going to just mention some of the people behind me, and when I mention it, just raise your hand. From the Historical Association of Woodbridge Township, President Dan D'Arcy, Vice President, yeah, these guys get a round of applause, Vice President Audrey LaPenta. And let me tell you, Audrey was working on this how long ago?
2011.
2011, so that's 13 years ago, and she actually, at the kickoff of this, was presented with a key to Woodbridge Township, right? Or was that soon? That was that day, right?
Yes.
Audrey and was presented, and her husband Frank were presented with the key to Woodbridge Township. Audrey never gave up on the plan for the History Museum. We worked on it. She worked on it harder than anybody going back then, but she really is someone who had the passion to never let us forget that this is something we had to do. So I just can't say enough about Audrey LaPenta and her late husband Frank and all they meant to Woodbridge Township and to this building behind us. Treasurer Howard Weber, Recording Secretary Tracy Billings, Board of Directors Brenda Velasco, who is also the Township Historian, Donald J. Peck, Tara DeBay, Irv Hyatt, Laura Bradshaw, Michelle O'Rourke, Jessica Florick, and Debbie Caccaro. Let's hear it for the board. All raise your hands. From the Woodbridge Township Historic Preservation Commission, Brenda Velasco, Bruce Christensen, who has a display of historic photographs at the Barron Arts Center until the 25th of this month, Dr. Dolores Capraro Jaffrey, another recipient of the Key to Woodbridge Township for everything she's done for the arts and for history in Woodbridge, John Landy, Dan D'Arcy, Miguel Martin, Daniel Diaz, Frank Pelsman Jr., Julie Cohen, Courtney Lowry, and Martin Genzer. Let's hear for the Historic Preservation Commission. From our Town Council, First Ward Councilwoman, which is where you are, Sharon McAuliffe, Councilman at Large Greg Ficara, Councilwoman at Large Lizbeth DeJesus, former Councilwoman and current Chief of Staff and Head of Redevelopment Carolyn Ehrlich, and from our school board, the President Dan Harris. And who else? Oh, Nizam Mohammed's over there too. Let's hear for them. And now I'm going to turn the microphone over to a longtime friend, a guy that I go way back with. We played basketball together in the 90s at the Knights of Columbus. Neither one of us was any good. We had a lot in common. We were both the last guys off the bench, so we got to play against each other a lot because when they put McCormick in, they might as well put the RC in. And when they put the RC in, they might as well put McCormick in because neither one of us knew what the heck we were doing on a basketball court. But we became good friends, and Dan has been an advocate. Frankly, he's a pain in the neck. I'm just going to tell you right up front. Dan D'Arcy is a true pain in the neck. But you should all be very happy that he's a pain in the neck, because if he didn't do what he did over the last several years to push and push and push us in terms of getting this done, it was an ordeal. It was very difficult. This building was probably not a good investment, to say the least. You saw the movie Money Pit with Tom Hanks and Shelley Long. This is it. This is the real life version. We probably should have knocked it down and started over. But then we would not have the look of this building. This building just looks like a history museum. It looks beautiful. We never could have duplicated the architecture and just the feel of this building and the charm of this building. Even though it did cost a lot, it was very much worth it, because a town with the rich history of Woodbridge dating back to 1669, the oldest township in Woodbridge, in the state of New Jersey, Reverend John Woodbridge, all of our deep history with the Revolution and everything else that's gone on in Woodbridge Township. We deserve a history museum. And ladies and gentlemen, now we have one. The lady I just mentioned to my left, who's mainly responsible for that going way back, and in the recent years, the guy responsible is your next speaker, Dan D'Arcy.
Thank you, John. I can tell you, the last time I remember playing basketball with John,
I got a rebound. We were playing over at St. Cecilia's, I believe, in the basement, and I ripped down that rebound off the boards, and I dribbled it all the way down the court, and I was just about to dunk it, and John blocked my shot.
The only thing you've dunked is a donut.
And he calls me a pain in the ass, right? Okay, so today is a grand opening of a museum, and that's why we're all here today. But here at the association, we look at it as something much, much more than that. For years and years, and when we say years and years, we mean years and years, all right? It's the hard work, the fundraising, the planning, the anticipation, the disappointments, the promises that we make to our members. Soon, I'm working on it. I'm on the mayor. Don't worry about it. Soon, okay? And finally, we're here after all these years. And this morning, we had a meeting inside, and I told everybody this morning that I sent out a text to our group, and I said, good morning. And Tara sends back a text to me, I have butterflies. Well, we all have butterflies. We better have butterflies, okay? So here we are, and we have so many people to thank for where we are right now. And consequently, you know, this is the 40th anniversary of the Historical Association of Woodbridge Township. And in 1984, John O'Connor, he's the one that started up the 501c. And we have him and so many people since then. Joanne Bulla, who was the township historian and president, Jeff Huber. We have the museum committee that did a job that you cannot believe the amount of hours that were put into this, with Laura Bradshaw, Tara, Irv, Howard, and others. It just, what did I miss? Debbie, I'm sorry. Debbie is the researcher supreme. Okay, so the amount of hours you can't fathom. You know, when we finally got to be in the museum, you know, we weren't here like an hour here, an hour there. We were here 10 hours at a time putting this all together. So the amount of, so if we get paid by how much, $1.50 an hour, something like that. Yeah. So, so who was here for the soft opening? So soft opening. I told the story then, and we were over at the Trinity Church for a holiday celebration, and the mayor comes in, and as he does all over the place, and he says a few words, and he says, "Oh, by the way, you know, if this history thing doesn't work out, blame Dan D'Arcy."
It worked out.
It worked out. Okay. All right, so we have so many people, and obviously the mayor and the township and the council for all they've done for us for this whole process. Chris Costi, the project manager who started this, Patrick McSherry, the project manager, our inaugural museum committee members, Dolores Joffrey, Kathy Jost Keating, Audrey LaPena, Frank LaPena, Charles and Mary Ann Paul, Brenda Velasco. We say thank you to our friends at the Main Library, the Historic Preservation Commission, and the Barron Arts Center. And with everyone here, again, we say thank you very, very much. And I'd like to pass the baton on to Audrey. Okay, is Audrey next?
Brenda's next.
Brenda's next, I'm sorry. There you go.
Thank you and welcome. A dream has come true. From 2011, Audrey and Frank had the dream, and the committee met at Audrey's house, 2011, and from then on, it just mushroomed. The administration was supportive, council, our mayor, look at this magnificent building, and then we get to the busy bees, Laura Bradshaw and her committee. Debbie, amazing research. You really delved. And it's just, as I said, a dream come true. And in a few more minutes, when we get out of the sun, you're going to realize how true it is. So let me hand back the mic.
Thank you, Brenda. Make some room here. And let's give the microphone to Audrey LaPena.
Welcome. I want to thank the mayor and Dan and all the committee that helped put this house together. It's been a wonderful loss. Everyone is happy today, and I'm unhappy because of my husband Frank, who was born in Woodbridge and all his life wanted a museum. He died 3 years ago, but I'm sure everybody says he's here today. So thank you, everyone, and we're happy to have the museum.
Now I'd like to introduce a historian from Woodbridge Township who was just a brilliant, brilliant person. If you haven't seen the movie about the train wreck in 1951, you're missing a phenomenal production. He has written books about it. He's involved in that movie. He's done all kinds of great things to keep the history of Woodbridge alive. Ladies and gentlemen, Gordon Bond. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. For those of you who don't know, I am the one who designed this exhibit, this debut exhibit. Did the graphics, helped with a lot of the writing, and with the help of Debbie and Laura and Howie and everybody else who has already been mentioned. I was probably hired for this because I am an unabashed history geek. When I was a little kid, I was a dorky little kid who was excited when the class trip was at a museum. I've always loved history. Other little kids, they wanted to be president when they grow up, or a football player or something, or a mayor. I wanted to work for the Smithsonian. Didn't quite make it, but museums, whether they're large or small, they are magical places to me. When you get to see an object that was actually there, that was part of history, it connects you in a very visceral, dimensional way. You feel your place in history, your place in time and space. And you can read about history, you can watch documentaries, and Lord knows I do that too. But there's just something about a museum. And being able to be part of this was a great honor. And I sincerely thank the association, Woodbridge Township, the Historical Commission, everyone who was involved in making the decision to allow me to help write the first chapter of this new book in Woodbridge history. We focused on the first 4 owners of this house. These were men who were part of the transition of Woodbridge from a rural community back in the 18th and 19th centuries to the modern city, the modern township that we now know it in the 20th and 21st centuries. So you can spin stories off of their lives about the clay industry that built many of the homes, including this one. The educational system, school number 1 down the street, was part of the first owner of this house's career. The sacrifices of people who from the township who ended up in the military, who were first responders, all of these people, we could spin out all these stories, and we have just scratched the surface. There is so much more to tell, so many more stories to explore, so much more rich and varied history. I learned an awful lot in this process, and the dorky little kid who loved museums was delighted by this whole process, and I am grateful to have been a part of it. And with that, I welcome you to please enjoy, let this museum work its magic. Please read everything, because a lot of work went into writing all this stuff and creating these stories and telling these stories. You might be surprised at some of the interesting stuff, the unexpected history that you're going to discover in these stories. So thank you, everyone. It's a long time coming, and thank you for allowing me to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon. Thank you for everything you do, keeping history alive. Debbie, same with you. You're great. Without people like you, we clearly wouldn't have this. I just asked Dan, this museum is open right now from 1 to 4 on Sundays. That's the hours. I'm sure there'll be more later on as they get their feet wet and get people out here to volunteer and work. But for now, it's 1 to 4 on Sundays. And now we'd like to present to Dan DiArci a proclamation celebrating the 40th anniversary of the Historical Association of Woodbridge Township. Everything we've said so far is in it. It's getting hot. We don't need to repeat it. But I would just like to present this to Dan. better with the hat on, don't I? And now, I would like to present the Woodbridge History Museum grand opening reading. No, I'm going to give her. I got one for her.
Oh, okay. I was going to share.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
And now I'm going to present to Audrey LaPenta the proclamation for Woodbridge History Museum. And today is now known throughout the rest of the history of Woodbridge, and we keep track of all these days, believe it or not. Today is going to be known as Woodbridge History Museum Day throughout the rest of Woodbridge Township history. And out of an honor of that, I would like to present this proclamation to Audrey LaPenta. Congratulations.